This dad put a recording device in his daughter's hair and heard something shocking. This is Thomas Valero. He has a daughter named Emily. Emily was a normal girl with friends. Every day before school, Emily would begin to cry, and she would ask her dad if she could stay at home. Every time Thomas asked what was wrong, Emily would refuse to say. So he took matters into his own hands. Without his daughter knowing, he put a recording device in her hair. When Thomas listened back to the recording, he was absolutely shocked. He heard Emily's teacher bullying the class. Emily's teacher would call her students names and use profanity too. Thomas went to the school and demanded the teacher be fired, but they said no. So instead, Thomas took this to the media. Eventually, a petition was made and the teacher was finally fired. This couple has been living in a sewer for 22 years. Meet Miguel Restrepo and Maria Garcia. They are a Colombian couple who lives in a sewer. They have lived in this sewer for 22 years. Everyone assumed they lived a terrible life until they looked inside their sewer home. Miguel and Maria met on the dangerous streets of Medellin, Colombia. They were addicts for a long time, and they knew that to get clean, they had to leave the streets. But they had no money to get a home and no family to live with. So that's why they decided to live under the streets. Their sewer home has electricity, heat, and a kitchen too. They even adopted a homeless dog as well. The couple even decorate their home every Christmas. The couple say they don't need anything but each other's love. And they say that if they never met each other, then today they would not be alive. Most unusual couples in the world. This man named Lu Yi married himself. On New Year's Day 2007, he proposed to himself. Unsurprisingly, he said yes, and he had a full wedding with a cardboard cutout of himself. Akihiko Kondo from Japan married an anime character. He bought a hologram of the anime character and then a doll as well, and eventually he married the doll. 39 of his family members and friends came to the wedding. Lee Jing-jae from Korea married a pillow. He takes the pillow on dates to malls and amusement parks. They got married a few years back and they're still living happily to this day. People called this homeowner crazy, but she had the last laugh. In 2017, lots of wildfires occurred in Kansas, USA. Many people cut their losses and evacuated their homes. But one woman named Danielle Tajman had a different idea. She turned on her sprinklers just in case this would help stop the fire. Many of her friends and neighbors laughed and said that will never work and your house will burn down. Later on, Danielle did evacuate, but when she was in a safe place, she turned on the news and saw her own house. Everything around it had been burned, but the sprinklers saved her home. It turns out Danielle's idea worked after all, and everyone who made fun of her idea had to eat their words. The most stubborn homeowners ever. In 2012, all of the occupants of a street in Wengling, China were asked to move. That's because they wanted to build a new highway. But one man named Liu Baojin refused, and that's why his home now sits in the middle of a highway. In 2006, Edith Macefield turned down millions of dollars to sell her house. She would never sell and remained there, keeping her 100-year-old house. And her house is actually the inspiration for the movie Up. In 2015, one house got in the way of a new development in China, but the owner refused to sell, so that's why their house is in the middle of a pavement. In 2004, one Japanese homeowner accepted no amount of money to move. They were building a gigantic mall, but they wouldn't move, so they simply built them all around the house. It's not yet been built, so right now they have to live on a gigantic dirt hill. Celebrities who now work normal jobs. I'm sure you remember Dylan Sprouse from The Sweet Life of Zack and Cody. Well, he now works at a coffee shop in New York serving coffee. He says he's not broke, he simply enjoys it. You may remember Kevin Jonas from the Jonas Brothers. Well, he's now a real estate developer and contractor. You may remember Angus T. Jones from 2.5 Men. He's no longer in the acting business, but now he does event planning. Maybe you could get him to plan your birthday or wedding. Everyone remembers the rapper Vanilla Ice, but he no longer does music. Now he's a real estate developer. Everyone remembers Jack Gleason from Game of Thrones, but in 2013 he quit acting and said he was going back to school. He's now studying philosophy at university. Lucky discoveries that made people rich. One day, an Australian miner named Bobby was walking home from work. That's when he nearly tripped over on something on a dirt road. Underneath the ground, he found the Royal One opal. This is a very rare opal that sold for $3 million. One day, a man named David Gonzalez bought a house for $10,000. It was a house which was a wreck and he was planning to renovate it. But inside he found Action Comics #1. This is the most rare comic in the world, and he sold it for $180,000. One day, a California man named Tony was at a garage sale. He paid $5 for a box of random documents. But one of the documents was 1.8 million shares of Coca-Cola, and these shares were worth $130 million. What famous memes look like today? Everyone remembers the Success Kid meme, but did you know it's a real boy named Sam Greiner? He's now 13 years old and has made lots of money from this meme. You may remember Bad Luck Brian. Well, this is a real man named Kyle Craven. It turns out he was simply making a funny face in his yearbook photo. You may remember Chloe, the side-eye girl. The meme was from a YouTube video and she still makes videos today with 200,000 subscribers. You may remember the blinking confused man meme. Well, it's from a game review website. The man is named Jeff Gertzman, but he no longer works for the company.